welcome back to Niji. Now in this episode, I want to show you the breakdown of this geometry nodes creations. It's basically rainbow onigiri or Niji onigiri. Let's go Control Option Spacebar, get out of that mode. So this is the whole setup using geometry node. All we want to do is just to kind of like instance rice on top of these triangle shapes. So if you look up for onigiri, yeah, it's basically a simple triangle shape with seaweed. Sometimes you see the seaweed covering the whole rice, but anyhow, don't worry about that. Let's take a look at this. So I have the two part of the geometry combined together. Let's actually take a look at the rice part first. I can disconnect that. So the rice part is just like a bunch of capsules representing rice grain and scattered over the triangle. So it's very simple. So I do have start with a circle with resolution of 3. I could make it 4, 5, 6, 7. If you make it like this, it's probably gonna be something else if we extend it. So this is kind of rice that you might see in Indonesia, but they call it nasi timbal, but don't worry about that. Let's go back to onigiri. Onigiri shaped like triangle like this. So fillet curve, so circle, give it a fillet. This is depend on how much rounded you want on the triangle, so give it a little bit. The next one, of course, I extrude it after I fill the curve and join the two together so we get some kind of volume. So, and then I use the mesh to volume and then volume to mesh, turn it into mesh and then distribute some points onto the mesh. This is for the rice grain. You can randomize the seed, and I further randomize the rotations of the instance of the seed, the rice seed, because without this one all the rice will be just standing like that. It's a little bit weird. Add a little bit more of the rotation, I guess, so it's not all just standing up. So you can increase the rice. The actual rice itself is, the actual capsule is made of circle and line, so we can make the grain of rice longer, but for sushi or onigiri a shorter fat rice should work. Okay, and subdivide it, of course, subdivide and set the shade smooth, and then you can instance the rice. Then the next thing I do for the seaweed, part, I use a bounding box, and with bounding box we get a box, right? But I need to delete the sides, like this side and this side. We just keep the 1, 2, 3 sides for the seaweed, and then I just hack it slightly here with the scale and translate it. So this is like a little bit manual, it's not perfect, but you get the idea. I think a better way is to actually wrap the seaweed. So if you can make it wrap the geometry of the triangles onigiri, then it's even better. And I just subdivide it again, and then set the shade smooth, and then give it some noise. Give it some noise, not too much, just a little bit, so it looks a little bit like seaweed. Okay, and then just give it material for the rice. I make the colorful rice like rainbow. So two material for the rice, and for seaweed, the rice will be like this rainbowy rice. Very easy. Object info, random hue saturations. You get that. I like subtle. Give it some subsurface scattering. And the seaweed part, I just use noise and with this generated texture, so it's got the like a streaking things on top of the seaweed. Yeah, it's not bad. It's not the best, but still you get the idea. So that's basically how one way you can create onigiri rice, rainbow onigiri using geometric node in Blender 4.2. Yeah, you can turn this into something else completely. So if it's like a sushi, sometimes the onigiri actually wrap around the sides instead of the top and the bottom. It depends on what kind of onigiri. But yeah, you get the idea. And then there's a lot of variation of onigiri, of course, different filling and all types of onigiri. So that's for the details. But it's kind of interesting foods, kind of popular at the moment in Australia. So yeah, thanks for the onigiri from Japan. I love this thing. So it's cost around $5 nowadays. Quite expensive here, but half price in Japan, I guess. So anyhow, hopefully you find this useful. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye.